News sources. Asia Vision, Asian news through Asian eyes. For over 30 years, we have been getting stronger and faster. This year alone, we have added 4 new members, increasing our total to 30 members, contributing and exchanging news material every day. But our influence is just not limited to the region. We have been expanding our network across the globe. In the Middle East and Northern Africa, we have Sister Union, Arab States Broadcasting Union, sharing news with us daily. In Europe, we exchange news with over 60 different European broadcasters, and in America, CNN receives news materials from AVN and broadcasts them all over the world. Asian news is changing faster and having more of an impact on global affairs than ever before. Through improvements in technology, journalists are able to submit and access more news stories and receive updates faster through our newly integrated internet-based platform. The new internet platform has made it easier to contribute and access current news events, and the rise of membership participation has led to a dramatic increase of items being exchanged over the last year. With the exchange of news comes the exchange of ideas. Members can also benefit from AVN journalist workshops and attachment schemes in our bid to create partnerships, spread knowledge, and elevate standards. So, contribute your views in global affairs and join us as we document history in the making. Asia Vision, Asian news through Asian eyes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Nasma Abdul Muhsin and this is AVN News. The Trump administration on Thursday sent a one-page framework to Republicans in Congress addressing immigration questions that have divided Congress and the American people. Mike O'Sullivan reports that with critics on both sides, the administration's proposals face an uphill battle.
As senators met this week to discuss immigration, undocumented young people demanded relief for the hundreds of thousands of recipients of DACA, or the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, who were brought to the United States illegally as children. The Trump administration plans to end the Obama-era program that shields them from deportation in March. Trump's proposal would offer a path to citizenship for 1.8 million DACA recipients, but many immigrant groups reject its other provisions, including $25 billion for enhanced border security and immigration enforcement, an end to an immigration lottery, and stricter limits on immigration of the family members of immigrants.
This is a proposal that will go nowhere. It's dead on arrival, and we reject it. Not only is this proposal not just conservative, but it is extremely, extremely hard on immigrants, on our families, and on the nation. And it's just simply unacceptable.
The proposals would also overhaul the immigration system with a focus on security.
There are some 11 million illegal aliens in the country, a population the size of Georgia or Portugal. If we can't control or even know who enters the country, it's that much harder to keep people safe.
But it would not fully address the issue of undocumented migrants.
It only legalizes 1/5 of the U.S. unauthorized population, and in exchange, it has a whole litany of changes to the broader legal immigration system and to border security and interior enforcement.
Some of the president's supporters like the framework. Others say it grants amnesty to many in the country illegally. Yet others point to surveys showing that most Americans support relief for DACA recipients. An advocate for immigration reform at an organization backed by the technology industry says the Trump proposal would hurt the country.
From what we've understood about it, this would be one of the largest cuts to legal immigration, about 50% in nearly a century. And that's something that, from our organization's perspective, would be just devastating to the economy.
One Republican senator said this week it's about finding the right balance.
This is about border security. It's about fixing some of the holes in our immigration system that allow criminals and others to take advantage of it. But it's also about a compassionate solution for the DACA recipients.
Talks will continue next week. Mike O'Sullivan, VOA News, Los Angeles.
1 year ago, President Trump signed an executive order that would become among his most controversial and legally tested decisions to date. It was a ban restricting travel for foreign nationals from a group of Muslim-majority countries to the U.S. in the name of national security. VOA spoke with members of diaspora communities from countries on the revised list where lives and livelihoods have been affected. Ramon Taylor reports from New York.
Shortly after prayer on a mild winter day, men stopped to chat along Brooklyn's Atlantic Avenue, a normal occurrence in a year of change for the New York's Muslim faith community. Yet the toll taken by President Trump's travel ban with its multiple court rulings and revisions is evident. Congregants from Yemen and other travel-restricted countries are glum.
I thought people in America here, because of the government and because of democracy, will do something to change the Trump, Trump ways.
Imagine not seeing your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. Imagine them being somewhere else, and you know that they're not safe. Like, come on, that's just completely hard on people.
Yemen, a nation mired in a 3-year-long civil war, is one of 6 Muslim-majority countries whose foreign nationals have been barred from entering the United States. Necessary, the order says, to protect Americans from terrorist attacks. Yemen was included in the first travel ban, which sparked major protests at airports around the country last January. But the Central African nation of Chad was added more recently, perplexing Chadian immigrants.
Chad is an active member of G5 in Sahel who fighting against the terrorism in the region. We are victims of terrorism in our country.
Hassan Mayo Abakaka, a permanent resident from Chad and father of 5, has lived in New York City for 19 years. But since his country was added to the travel ban in September, he says he has felt trapped, worried about doing business or visiting family abroad.
We are legally here. We want to go back and come back, do business, but we're scared because we don't know what the officer at the border will react against us.
Unlike Mayo Bakaka, Mohammed Musla, a permanent resident from Yemen, has traveled to the region since the ban was enacted. Though the ban doesn't affect him directly as a green card holder, he says the security treatment he received in airports has noticeably changed.
They ask you a lot of questions. They take your phone, they have to see inside what you have, what picture you have. This is crazy. I never got this before.
Travel agent Wada Mubaras, whose company caters to a majority Yemeni population, says bookings have been down by more than 50% over the past year.
If it is a ban take a long time, maybe we should down the business. Maybe we'll lose everything.
And his ailing mother is stuck in Yemen.
We can't live without business. It's not a big deal, but we can't live without family.
Ramon Taylor, VOA News, New York.
Asia Vision, Asian news through Asian eyes.
A common ingredient of toothpaste could be developed to fight drug-resistant strains of malaria. Scientists at Britain's Cambridge University found that triclosan has the potential to interrupt the infection at 2 critical stages in the liver and the blood. Faith Lapidus reports.
Brushing your teeth helps prevent a buildup of plaque bacteria, thanks to one ingredient in the toothpaste, triclosan. The antibacterial agent could also help fight the malaria parasite, even those types that have become resistant to other drugs. Malaria, which is spread by mosquitoes, kills around 500,000 people every year, the vast majority of them children in the poorest parts of Africa. Once the parasites are transferred into a new host, they work their way to the liver before moving into the bloodstream and spreading throughout the body. Scientists have known for some time that triclosan can halt malaria parasites' growth at the blood stage of the infection. The new study shows that it can also target the parasites in the liver, with triclosan able to target 2 critical points in the malaria parasite's life cycle. Scientists say the parasite will find it difficult to evolve resistance to a triclosan-based drug. I'm Faith Lapidus, VOA News.
Why has Mumbai's largest slum, which packs some 1 million people in about 2 square kilometers, emerged as an unlikely stop for foreign tourists? The draw is not images of squalor and poverty in the heart of India's largest city, but a place where thriving entrepreneurship and stories of hope and success break many stereotypes of a slum. Anjana Parisha reports.
In his cramped workshop in Mumbai's Dharavi slum district, Mohammad Sheikh sifts through thousands of plastic cups that will be turned into pellets for reuse. Since coming from a village 10 years ago, the small recycling business he has built in the slum's dingy alleys enables him to give a decent education to his children.
It's all good here. I have no problems. I manage my expenses very well.
Thousands of ramshackle workshops have mushroomed haphazardly in Dharavi as residents and an endless stream of migrants turned their hand to whatever they could, recycling the city's waste, making leather goods or garments. Today, these micro-businesses produce goods worth $1 billion and have scripted many success stories. Like that of Sohail Akhtar, who employs 6 workers in his tiny garment unit. 25 years ago, he was a worker himself. Residents like him are resisting efforts to redevelop the slum, a prime slice of land in the city's heart, where the government has offered to rehouse residents in modern buildings.
If facilities improve, our costs will increase. We work on very tiny budgets, and it will become difficult for us to survive.
Inside these narrow alleys, tourists get a perspective on why residents don't want to move out of Dharavi. No one explains it better than tour guide Ankit Gajakosh, who has co-founded Mumblu Tours. Having grown up in the area, he knows firsthand how this slum can be a driving force to improve one's life.
People are not begging, people are not into crime, people are not addicted to drugs over here. Why? Because there is so much of jobs to do. People, if they want to work, they can work and earn money. And that's how the entire environment in this place is different, quite different.
That is what tourists like Beata Pik and Panlop Thandiam discover beneath Dharavi's ramshackle veneer: energy and entrepreneurship.
It's really tough, but also really surprising, and it's a real eye-opener, I would say. For a person like me, it was great to know that you can actually have a happy life in a really different condition.
I saw just it's like us, but it's a different in the country and occupation. I do my job to get money. They do their job to get money and live their life. That's all. It's quite similar.
Dharavi may be counted among Asia's largest slums, but it is also a symbol of hope and opportunity for the underprivileged. Anjana Pastricha for VOA News, Mumbai.
Asia Vision, Asian news through Asian eyes.
Incorporating technology into learning can sometimes be a slippery slope towards computer distraction. That is why some of the best new educational tools work in the real and the virtual world. VOA's Kevin Enox reports.
It's easy to see this as a simple video game about being stranded on Mars.
Wow! Why is the soul and the sky so red?
Mars is called the Red Planet because it's covered with a lot of rust.
But it's more than that. This new technology is also designed to engage kids with rockets and rovers in the real world.
The fact that, the time length on Mars is different to what it is on Earth, and when sunset and sun rises, and then he's got to go away and build himself a space station using kinetic sand and some very sort of simple materials, and then build a rover, which then it comes apart and becomes a rocket, and then he has to fly back home to Earth.
Other new educational products also have computer and real-world components.
What we found was, on the one hand, you have some amazing construction and STEM toys like Lego and many of the new coding programs and toys out there, and on the other hand, you've got some very sort of open-ended DIY projects.
That same idea is being used by Kevin Thompson, who turned to the language of instant messaging when he set out to create a music learning program.
It's fun, it's accessible, it's simple and trainable, so it's FAST, F-A-S-T. And what we're doing that is kids love emojis. There are 6 billion emojis sent every day. So the emojis are the modes. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G are the letters. A for red apple. Or the modes, the Ionian is happy. So if you're going to play a happy tune, you'll start off with the happy emoji.
But it's not just emojis. The Velcro pads have different textures, so each chord or note feels different. Thompson says that engages more senses in the learning process.
So you can feel the chords you're playing as a major or minor or a seventh. So I reckon within 7 weeks, the kids can feel what they're playing, they can hear what they're playing, they can see what they're playing, so you have a multi-sensory experience.
These 2 learning tools and others are on display this week at the British Educational Training and Technology Fair in London. Kevin Enochs, VOA News.
Projecting three-dimensional images in thin air called holography moved from science fiction to reality a long time ago. But this type of graphic display is not in wide use because the required equipment is still expensive. Scientists at the Brigham Young University have discovered a cheaper method of holography using particles floating in the air. VOA's George Puttich reports.
This image of a small butterfly fluttering its wings above a finger is called a volumetric image. Creator Daniel Smalley says it is in fact a tiny speck of cellulose kept suspended in a so-called photophoretic trap.
While it's trapped, laser light will hit that particle, and that laser light will scatter in all directions, and then everybody looking toward the particle will see those colors, that scattered light.
Like movies and television, volumetric images rely on persistence of vision, or the fact that human eye cannot perceive the gaps between images projected in rapid succession. Smalley says this is different from holographic images that can be seen only from a certain number of angles.
We can see it from the front, we can see it from the back, and in reality we can see it from almost any angle. And that separates it from technologies like holograms that can only be seen from a certain range of angles.
Researchers say multiplying the light beams may lead to larger projections that could one day be used in both science and entertainment. George Puttich, VOA News.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Have a very good day.
Asia Vision, Asian news through Asian eyes.
The UAE is fully committed to exploring available opportunities in the Maldives.